welcome to the Exchange Podcast, a platform where myself and my guests will be talking about some controversial topics and some topics that we face like just generally in life really. So to my right I have Mr. C, to my left I have Levels, and to my far left I have
Why are you
because the way you're looking at me. To my far okay, yeah. Stop laughing. We'll
Yeah, laugh, man. It's real. Just carry on, man.
Alright, fine.
It's real, guys.
To my far left, we have Miss Lee. So today's topic is about, can you be pro-black but date outside your race? Now I know this is like a deep topic, and there's loads of different types of views. But what are you guys on? What are you lot thinking?
Personally, it depends. You got to first off say what is pro-black. We say things that are for black people, for the betterment of black people. So, can you be with a white partner or another racial partner and still be wanting to help the black community? Technically, theoretically, you can. Obviously, we know there's the argument of that that sort of argument of if you're with somebody that's not in our community, will they understand? Will they even really care? Are they just tagging along? And what is your mentality? So it's like you can show and do things that can help the black community, but I can't necessarily. It's a hard thing to say you don't care about us because you're with this person, because like, you know, when you walk on the street and you see like, you might see the black man. I don't know if you've experienced this, but when I see black people with other white people, sometimes they're either looking at me like, accept this, or they're looking at me with a bit of shame. Sometimes it's a bit of a mix. Do you know what I mean?
I've seen that.
And like, one thing I can say is like, some people have relations with the same race and they have a very bad experience. And that can make them go completely the other way. And I'm not saying that, I don't think that's the answer. That when I hear people dissing like all black men, dissing all black women and saying, "Oh, black women have got too much attitude," I don't like that,
that's
because
that's the thing that most people do. Like, not most people, but
a lot of people.
I've heard a lot of people say, like, especially like women though.
Yeah, because it's the same.
They always say like, "Oh, I've had enough of black men, so I think I'm gonna go to the white side," for example. But I don't know if, personally, I'm not sure if you can actually be for the black community, like be like pro-black and date outside your race. And the reason why I say this is because if you're trying to look for the betterment of your community, right, and you want the best for your community, you want the economy to be tighter, you want relationships to be tighter, you basically want to be in a better position. How can you then want all of that and then go home to a partner who is not of the same background as you, the same race as you, and doesn't necessarily hold the same values of you? Because obviously everyone has their own ideologies, everyone has their own views, everyone's cultures are different. Even within the black community, different islands do things differently. So if you're coming outside of your race completely into a whole nother spectrum, a whole nother thing, how are you then going to bring that, to get what I'm trying to say? Maybe I'm not articulating it.
I get what you mean.
It's
kind of a thing of this, when you're in a relationship anyway, there's compromises to be made. So to then date or commit to a relationship where you are coming from opposing journeys, basically, what are you going to have to compromise on to make this work? That's how I feel. So the question of, if you're pro-black, can you have a relationship outside of your own race? Like Levels was saying, it is kind of a thing of, theoretically, yes, you can, but when you dig into the meat of it, there's a lot that you have to kind of, one side is going to have to sacrifice a lot for that journey of pro-blackness to elevate within that, because naturally it's just going to be opposing views on a lot of things. And if your whole basis in this is about elevating your family structure with this mindset of pro-black, which is not anti anything else, I want to add as well.
Of course.
Because a lot of people think being pro-black is anti something else.
Anti-Asian, it's not.
Yeah, which it isn't. But, as we were saying, the practicality of it is that, yeah, there's going to be a lot of sacrifices having to be made for that union to be working. And if you're already struggling, going to have situations that you're going to have to navigate already, because
there must be some type of like difficulty, because obviously discussions, then even like basic discussions that you're going to have with somebody who's non-black, because it's not just white, it could be with an Asian person, a Chinese person, anyone who's non-black, those conversations, I'm guessing, because I don't know, might be a little bit conflicted. Because on one end, it's like, if we're talking about the plain black and white thing then, and we're talking about being enslaved over 500 years ago by Caucasian people, so we know that the people that we interact with today, it's not them. We know that, we're aware of that. The people that we see and love today are not the ones that enslaved us 500 years ago. However, that is their ancestry. Just like our ancestry are slaves, but before, like, from that point, obviously before that we were kings and queens, but from that point, So those conversations, I'm guessing, are going to be a bit difficult to have, because on one end you're saying, we want to grow the black pound, we want to, grow black love and this and that, but then the person that you go home to is of a non-black. I'm struggling to understand how it can work, because you're going to have the conversation with your non-black partner and be like, I want my black brothers and sisters, but then how was the white person or the Asian person or the Chinese person going to feel when their black partner is talking about all this growth within their community? But they're not going to feel a part of that journey. Do you get it? I
think, you know what, I think it's like, it just depends on how you view things, because it's like, you can be an integrationalist, or you might want to separate more. Like, when people look at things like black growth in certain ways, like I say in America, we know about Black Wall Street. That was more of a separation thing, and that's where they excelled. When things integrate, it seems like black people are struggling sometimes, and obviously there is indicators of things being there to hinder you and certain people, but it's obviously sly. And if you want to bring the slavery thing into it, like we know, it's years ago, it was a long time ago, but as everything's been coming out lately, we're learning about a lot of these banks that are built off the back of it, that we use today. We bank with these banks that built off the back of that. And then, like, you got things like the Windrush scandal, where it was like, you know what, it's all in the past now. They brought us over, we built up the country, we built up their things, the railway, everything and whatnot, and we're doing a lot of work. And then just the other day they're like, you've got to go home.
Like that.
One thing, as we level set by opening this conversation, being pro-black, you have to understand what you represent. You can use the word like anyone else, I'm pro-black, but when you say you're pro-black, what you represent for the black community. Because just being your skin color, identify you that, okay, you're black by your skin color. But most of this leave back to our mindset. Right? Because some people who is in the black community, and this is my opinion, some people who in the black community, they don't represent the black community as someone else outside the black community will represent the black community, in terms of, for instance, you have some black business where our black community should have support this business, but it's people from next community support this business. So these are some of the same people
that say they're
on the
pro-black.
street corner say they're pro-black. So when you're talking about pro-black, what some of these people really mean is they are talking because it's a word they use and feel good, or their mindset is about building a black economy and a black community. So we have to be careful when we go down the road of talking about pro-black, because to the day I can see where people outside the black community support certain entity in the black community more than the people who is in the black community. So are these people in the black community that say they are pro-black? What you're pro-black for? Just for your skin color? So we have to understand all of that.
I hear that.
So
That's the thing, because I just yesterday was reading about a man in Birmingham, and African man, and I think he's in Birmingham, and he was been getting racist treatment from one individual, and he sells food from his van.
Food
You
truck.
see it, yeah, and he got burnt down to the ground. The man,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
yeah.
I
So
saw
they-
that.
That's
out of
he
order.
stole his van,
And
Yeah,
then
I
they
saw
got
that.
it
and then the
back.
police said that they can't arrest him because they can't really
Prove.
tie him to the
Yeah.
to the
To the
his
crime.
van, even though he's in his possession. And then the man burned the van or whoever burnt the van to the ground, to ashes.
That's
And
sad, yeah, I
but the
saw
thing
that.
is, someone who didn't even know him, that saw it online, decided to do a GoFundMe for him,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
he got
yeah.
I think up to 70 grand.
Wow.
And he made I watched the video where he was like, you know, he was really happy, and he was like, listen, I appreciate it. And he's like, listen, this restored my faith in humanity. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
yeah,
people
yeah,
of all
yeah.
different backgrounds are giving money. And when I even went to the GoFundMe, you see a lot of people, why everyone saying, you're a good man, you do business, and put their money in and put their comment. So do you know what I mean? I see people, even, and you know, Swiss from
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
Solid.
So
Swiss
Solid.
from So Solid has done his he's been pushing the Black Pound
Black
Day,
Pound
and he's
Day,
been doing a lot, so we have to big him up for that.
Yeah, 100.
And I've seen a lot of people from different races supporting it.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time, I see a lot of people from different races angry about it.
True.
I don't know the levels of if it's more angry than more supporting, but
But we can see there's both going on. Like
And-
people are
Yeah.
supporting, and then people
One
are
thing I
being
understand
negative
about
as
people
well.
in my community, yeah, and we kind of sometimes make me kind of get a little bit not comfortable with, yeah. People from our community will be out there trying something to get it to work, and the same people from our community will sit down and criticize in a bad way before they put in a hand to help. Because we have a big mouth, we quickly jump and say, yeah, we should do that and we should do that. But at the same time, when the time comes down for do it, where are us?
Where are us?
This is why
we there,
some
we
of
there.
the things when we say, over the years, we see some group of on Facebook or some people out there in the street do their protesting demonstration. Yes, if people don't step forward to be a part, sometimes we can't go forward. But I was saying, when we get from the old folks, starving our teacup, because with too much of that in the United Kingdom and globally. We jump up, we make a bag of nice, we don't have a full plan. What's the end game? All right, George Floyd thing come up over there. The whole world Europe, right? We see our statue out here down. Okay, what's the end game? Do we have a plan?
That's why when
But this-
everything on
yeah.
social media is going on, I can't jump in. I can't get involved, and I don't get excited with everybody else and be wanting to like. I'm like, you know what? People are awakening maybe in different stages and different times,
100%.
but like you said, it's a lot of people just want to just make a lot of noise, but not want to do the action, and the action is the hard bit.
Yeah, like
We
what
know,
we're
you know,
doing
it's like when
after.
someone sees you with your business, they think, yeah, he's doing good, and you get when people are looking at, you got it nice. They don't see
They
everything
don't
that's
see-
going on
they
behind the
don't see
scenes,
the hard work behind
because
it.
and they're not willing to do that hard work most of
course
the
not.
time, and they have to wake up to know that. As much as there's certain situations where some people got like, you know, bring-ins and they got certain things, there's a lot of people that built their thing from the ground,
100.
and you have to be willing to do that. And bringing it to the other aspect you was talking about with the whole, you know, having a partner that's of a different race, it's got to be a thing where you're both honest to each other about the situation you're in and your background and your cultures and how they work. You got to be honest about what you stand for and know who you are, because you got some people that will go with other races because it's a color thing, but it's not really as much a color thing as it's a culture thing. I think
Probably culture,
So-
more to culture nowadays
sometimes when
than
I see
it was before.
when I see certain people going, and it's like, we know black people have been through whatever we've been through. We're coming from where we're coming from. So you like when I hear like one like the man or the woman saying black women are all aggressive and got attitude,
yeah, all
or
of that.
black men are all horrible and they cheat, or
Yeah.
whatever they say, it's like, stop that, innit? You gotta know. A lot of times when people get in relationships, you didn't look at it fully. You was in honeymoon period, and you was in
Like
like
they
a
say.
fantasy, and you was like, you know what, you're just going with your emotions. You didn't think logically, you know what, this person's got these problems, you know. Can I deal with this long term? You're not thinking about that at that time. So when people break up and they want to say these things, I'm like, no, you have to take it easy and that, because everyone's got problems.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
true.
So with when it comes with the racial thing, it's just really down to how like, I always feel like I need to, I have to be with a black woman because that's just me. That's just how I'm programmed, innit? And I have that in me in the sense of we have to help each other. Like, if we know we got problems and there's problems, I'm not gonna like, forget black women, I'm gonna go
over.
Nah,
Yeah.
We have to fix it. Who's gonna fix it if we don't fix it?
What we do, what happened to us, right? And this is, as I'm saying, opinion. I can't say it's a definite, yeah?
Yeah.
But we see out there, sometimes you can base off of that. You see, before we stand up and deal with problem, we run away from it and find the easier road out. We don't solve problem. We cover the problem and step on it and try to move on.
And make sure you don't catch up with us.
Right.
And essentially,
And then the problem just goes to the next place you step to.
Exactly.
You see, every community have their problem, you know. But one I think we spill too much of our problem out there in the public. Because as quick as in our community there's a problem with a brother or sister, we jump on the social media and we start scandal and drama all over the place. Just look and watch the social media. How much others community scandal their own people and see which community come out on top.
Listen.
Our community use social media for the wrong purpose. Until we started to use social media to build our community in the positive and the right way, and when things happen in our community, we find a way of deal with it in the community, like our others community deal with it, and do not take it on social media and try to disgrace and discredit each other.
You know what,
So we need to know where we're coming from and where
I
we're
agree
going.
with that, but I also say it's difficult for that because we do not have, in my opinion, those
Community,
like community leaders that kind of guide, because a lot of the time
but
it's
that's part of, I just feel like, I know what you're saying about that community leaders, but
because if you don't have the example or people to kind of, where are you going to go to? And I understand it's not somebody's it's not somebody else's responsibility, but as we were just saying, if you're broken, who's going to fix you? You're going to have to look to your own community to help you, repair yourself. Or
that is a mad
if it's
cycle.
kind of like a constant cycle,
It's a
like
mad
you
cycle.
need somebody to kind of to take that
Alright.
position.
Sister, what more to say, yeah? Alright, you say, where do we go to? So that means we know there's a problem.
Yeah,
So
of
we
course
need
we
to
do.
lay a foundation.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
gonna
if we don't
say.
lay we see the problem, we see the weed is growing up out there. So if we don't lay a foundation to stop that weed from bad weed from growing up, that weed is gonna grow up and continue on in generation and generation.
Yeah,
and that's what happened to the day.
Yeah.
So now we see, and we always see, where next community sit down and say same thing like we know, we sit down and we complain about the problem and do nothing to fix it.
Yeah.
The next community, why they have these things, if they see there's a problem in their community, they come together as a community. But you know one thing in our community, we have too much ego.
that's it. I was going to say that.
Yes,
Ego,
that's
Ego,
it.
yeah,
That's it.
Yeah,
that's
That's
it.
it.
So
Because
what we do
that
is
is the
next
line,
one
bro.
I try, and then we say, oh, you're not gonna be the man or you're not gonna be the woman. No, regardless if it's a female or it's a male, respect what they're doing and help them, and when they're going wrong, try to correct them and make we go strong.
Yeah.
That's why we have so much different group to the day. I say, oh, he's doing this and he's doing that. No, we're not moving in one unit.
There's so many.
We're moving two
enough,
separate, and we are the one who they speak about the last sheep, the scattered race.
because there's
That's
no
us.
like structure.
You know
in
what I
what
wanted to
we're
say?
doing.
I want to say on what you said, on Mr. C said now, that what I noticed is that every race has problems.
Yeah,
every race has
every
problems.
race has problems.
We are the only race that own them so much. We are the only race that make music about how dysfunctional we are. We are the only race that, like, obviously with hip hop, I love hip hop. I'm not putting it down, and obviously we talk about the struggles and whatnot. But
Yeah,
hip hop turned from talking about surviving and living in this thing and trying to make it, and now man are just talking about taking drugs and partying and whatever else. So and a lot of other races have come into hip hop now. So it's not necessarily just us now. But we own it the most. I find we own it the most, and we almost celebrate it sometimes in comedy or whatever. And as much as it can be entertainment, we're still cementing it to us and saying this is us. We're this dysfunction. We're always late. Black people time. All these little things.
We need to.
All these little things add up and thing, and it makes it cement. So when you got a youth growing up listening to all of these things, and back to what you said as well afterwards is, you need to stop. Once we realize there's a problem, right? Well, we put a stop right there. We draw a line right there, and we say, look, the youths can't go through this. The future can't go through this. Everyone on this side, all the older generation that had to go through it, we're gonna try and figure out how to help them. But we need to stop the youth going through. We can't just say, and I was talking about this the other day. The same thing in the household a lot of times happens in workplaces. So where you have when everyone's an assistant, a sales assistant, and then someone goes up to a manager, and then you got the supervisor, and the shit rolls downhill, innit? Yeah. But it's like, you don't have to do that. It's the ego. Don't.
Yeah.
The ego.
Yeah, the ego 100%.
I've only had one, like, even though it's related when
everyone
I say
wants to be top dog, innit? Everyone wants to be a
but
boss.
But also everyone wants to get their own back. So it's like, once they had to go through it, they want to put it on the next person. So it's like, now it's your turn.
Well, we had to go through that.
Exactly that.
And if it's not happening to be
in
that.
front of us every day, yeah? There might be some people probably don't understand where I come from with this. Alright. We can use a famous sports I watch, soccer, football, right? You have a lot of black country who enter World Cup and international football. We're physically strong. We're mentally strong. But you know why most of this black country don't come out victorious? The black player, they're not unite on the field. Everybody want to be the single star.
Yeah, everyone is trying to be the
star. Everyone want to be the star.
Yeah,
so
but we got to look into that.
We don't unite as a unit and move as a unit. You see why it is power? They're not mentally strong as us, and physically strong, What they do, they know how to unite on that football pitch and play together.
Go
forward. Yeah, but what we do, we play.
Everyone will be a striker.
But I'm not being
so
funny
that's
though.
What
we need to
our
check
community.
Yeah,
now.
Mr. C, we need to check where this comes from though. This is not just we just want to be a top dog and we want to be this.
It permeates every aspect of our life. Your history.
It comes from history.
Will permeate every aspect of our life, which is, like you say, Mr. C, we know what the problem is.
So and
we keep it's perpetuate. It's transgenerational, isn't it? Because of the ego. But the problem then is when you find those groups, those individuals that band together, the minority that are doing that, they're not celebrated or put out there in the same way. Just like Levels was saying, you look into our music, what we're talking about ourselves is the struggles and the difficulties, but the progress doesn't get the same airplay, doesn't get the same following, it doesn't get the same support.
Try and figure out why does that happen.
That's
it's what they're pushing though. It's the agenda behind it.
So what we've got to find it and then take it to where?
Struggle sells, sex sells,
of
drug
course,
sells,
trauma
sells.
You notice even when I know like we're digressing slightly, but it's still cool.
It's all connected
but
though.
It's still connected. You see, if you put like even like on Facebook, on Instagram, all of that, if you put up a positive post, of I don't know, the first black woman to graduate with 12 masters, example. One like, maybe not even a like. Put up Passa, 100 likes, shares, things go viral, everything. But anytime you put something positive, and the thing is, what winds me up is you're putting up positive things about the black community. So that's what we're meant to be doing. Like you said, we're sitting here now talking about how like things are going in today's world, relating it back to historical events. But the fact of the matter is, who's behind the agenda? Who's behind pushing certain things? I even learned about, the algorithms and all of that from Instagram, and they select certain posts to put up and not all your followers see certain things. So there's someone that is controlling what other people see. When you're pushing that truth about certain political aspects that's going on, them things ain't getting pushed at. But if I put up a post right now cussing off my sister,
you'll get likes and
that's
followers
getting
and
likes
laughs.
and followers, or I'm cheating on my man with this one and that one. That's going everywhere.
But that's what I was saying.
That's going everywhere.
That's what I was saying first. We quick to put something out there on social media that degrade us. Why we putting out there in the first place? Cause that's what who control it want to see. We pull down each other. So we should know to ourselves, stop put this rubbish out there. If you don't put the rubbish there, there would be nothing to put out. In the first place, let us pull back. Just looking up. When I check social media now, all social media now, the people who tear down each other is we now. No,
but that goes back to people. People want to be acknowledged.
Yeah, but
people want to be seen. But the issue is you just said it though. Yeah, if you were to post something that's positive, when people come to their everyday life, right? If your everyday life is a struggle and you're not getting no props, no praise, no nothing, but for the things that are looked on as negative, polluting to you as a community and an individual are praised. As Cassie said, you know, if you share something negative or passa, it will always garner attention. And that is what a lot of our community feed on. And it's simply the same reason why we're looking at our youth in issues, because acknowledgement, certain things they're not getting. You're getting all of the things that we look at as positive for negative actions. And as you also said, it's what is the agenda? The agenda is set for you to only see yourself positively doing negative things. So it's not to say that I individually and others haven't acknowledged that we're destroying our community, and even those individuals that are doing those same said things are not like immune to the obviousness of what is taking place, to the things that they're doing, how it affects them negatively or others in their community. But if their daily life is just this teacup and the storm makes you feel important in that teacup, that's the cycle that we're perpetuating.
Yeah, because we're not seen outside.
No, and that's it. The view is this teacup.
And
how many people know about what is outside of this teacup?
And the crabs in the barrel is a real thing.
It's almost like, to me, the approach has to be each one teach one. So it's like from when you know someone close, when you know all the people close to you that are living in that sort of mind state where they're doing things like where they encourage the youngsters do something that's they deem it as cute and funny, but it's wrong, it's bad, it's backwards. And they just do it and they put it on social media. You have to pull them up. If your friend's doing that, pull them up and say, yo, we need to stop this. Because what makes me sick is seeing everyone complain about things and saying, oh, this is horrible, oh, we need
and then do nothing.
You're part of the problem.
Alright, levels. One other thing, guys, where some of this is getting even worse. As we can see over the years, right? It tried to fix sometime and when it happened again, it's just broke out bigger. You see some of my parents them now to the day we get kids, them need to be teach themselves.
They need parenting classes.
Because the parents them do not understand life, and then get kids, bring up kids, they can't teach the kids them good. Some of the parents themselves I show all kind of negative on social media. Then them have the picnic grow up, then give him a phone, the picnic turn on social media now and start see them mother and father doing it. So what them say? Oh, mommy doing this, uncle doing this, auntie doing this. This is what me I gotta do. So people from our community, remember, it takes a village
to raise a child.
So when a child come up now and see this from our community doing that on social media, where the picnic I gotta do? Him have to follow suit, innit? So some of the parents now,
I feel that.
And the next thing, sometime when we do, and we're out there, and we see a young youth or a young girl, and we try to talk to them and show them the right way, and then go man and tell them mother and father, then see it in a negative way. Where's this kind of picnic? Blah blah, we are trying, you understand me? I look at the picnic, I just want to watch it, you understand me? So what we need to do, start believe and trusting each other to help us along the way. Stop beating each other.
It's true, you know, because I noticed as well that I think we spoke about this one time on the live shows. Like, we need to start communicating with each other a bit more, even with people we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So if we see like a bag of man on the street, just walk past and say, "Oh, you're right, boys. How's it going? How you feeling?" You know, like that. Because I think as well, like the media, obviously, the propaganda, they have a lot they've got a big part to play in scaremongering, and creating moral panics, because you see, especially a bunch of black boys, that you just straight away getting all paranoid, your heart starts beating fast, thinking, shit, are they gonna... It don't happen to me, because they're my people, you know, like that. But they've made it seem like
every group
we're a race to be feared, but in fact it's the complete opposite. We are loved.
You know, if I have to have a little interjection with that bit. It's with the young people in the street. You're right, and it's like there's a lot of that put out there. And for me, I can walk on the street and I see loads of young and older black men that will hold me up and just say bless. They don't know me, but they'll say bless. They'll nod their head. They'll show me that it's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that happens all over. And sometimes I see them. They might not say bless, but I can see that they're thinking, is he cool?
Is he cool?
Is he cool? You know what I mean? And some youths are not cool. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say all of them are cool. Some of them are not. But sometimes this is the psychology of it. Sometimes them youths that want you to fear them is because they feel powerless. And fear is a form of power. And sometimes when that youth growing up, he's a young teenager. And if he's growing in a estate where you know the boys and the man on the ends, they're cool, but at the same time everyone's a bit dysfunctional. So you might get put down. You get a little bit of bullying or whatever, and then you're like, alright, that's how the thing works in the ends. I got to build up myself, and then you want to put that on somebody else now. Do you know what I mean? So it's the same thing comes with the manager thing. Do you know what I mean? Rather than if your manager treats you properly, you're gonna be, when you become manager, you don't feel the need to put down next people and chat to them like they're a piece of shit or like they're beneath you. It's like, no, I'm just managing how we work.
And you know where that comes from, levels? When you see young youth sometimes behave like this, see most of these young youth, some of the older generation, these youth are going through a lot of trauma and they have a lot of problems. And you know what? Some of the bigger man them or bigger woman them to some of these young girls, and the big man them to some of these young boys. Sometimes I see them. You don't see young boys or young girls and try to like talk down to them or bully them. Try to understand them. You see, that's one of the worst thing. You try to talk down to young youth them like you want to boss them up. They're not gonna take that. They're gonna rebel. And you see, true, they face so much of this. Sometimes they see a big man. Them don't want to show them that respect, because most of the big man them who round these youth try to push them down and boss them. That's what we get to understand. Dealing with these youth, don't you come first and say, me are the man, you are the boy. No. You are all human being. Try understand him and he will understand you. And you get all the respect and you can build together. But what we try to do, tear down before we build.
And also as well being negative to them. Like negative towards them.
Don't.
When you're approaching them with you've already made up your mind about who they are because of your assumptions.
And you don't let them have a voice. You don't let them, like, see my son, I make him, he can talk. Sometimes he'll talk back to me in a way, but I can hear it's not in it to be rude. It's to defend himself. I might not be paying attention properly, and I might just be like, yo, what you doing? Why you do that? And he's like, I didn't do that. And I can hear the upset
in there, innit?
Because he's a good boy. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the way I raise him, he's a good boy. So I want him to have that. And the thing is, before I had him so disciplined to the point where I saw adults dealing with him in the wrong way, and he couldn't say nothing, and I saw the hurt in him. Because he's like, I'm innocent in this, but I can't even. You're not even allowing me to talk. I'm not even allowed to defend myself because I'm a child. So when I had to step in and referee and be the middle all the time and be like, yo, no. What are you saying? Let him say his piece, and then he will explain, and then the adult will realize that you're wrong. But then now they have to face the ego.
Exactly.
They have to face the ego, and that's the hard thing, especially with an older generation and that.
They don't want. In our community, it's a big problem.
I think if you took away the ego,
the biggest problem,
right?
If you took away the ego, I think things will be way better.
Right.
Because like I said before, everyone wants to be a boss. Everyone wants to be the top dog, but in reality, it can't happen. Because if everyone's a boss,
destined to be a boss.
If everyone's a boss, who's our customers?
Who's the worker?
And that's what it comes down to. It's a sense of like what Mr. C is saying with the whole. You have to. you can't build businesses and everyone wants to be the boss.
You can't.
That's not how business works.
Exactly.
Someone has to do this. Someone has to do that.
Someone has to be your admin. Someone has to be your.
But the ego,
delivery
because you have
driver.
to, but that person's like, I ain't working for. I ain't want to work. I ain't being your little thing. I ain't
Well,
doing
always
this.
be in this
It's
cycle.
just simple like this, you know.
If they don't change their attitude.
You have a car, yeah? All of the car couldn't be just wheel, you know. You need every part feed work.
break it down for them, man.
You need every part feed work.
Right.
So if you can't carry go where it we go, yes?
Somebody need to be
You
the
need-
area so
you-
we can get
You need the petrol
signal.
pump, you need the steering, you need the wheel,
Need the
you need the
brakes.
glass them running to keep out the flyer
Need
and
the
breeze.
windscreen
You understand me?
wiper.
You need everything.
Need
So
to
in the
clear
community,
vision.
right?
You need windscreen
Right.
wipers then.
So you need to
Everything,
work
everything,
us
man, everything.
and you
Need the
do need
island.
a part who you seat them who comfort you and the AC. If you don't have the engine at work and the parts of that, how can that take away from?
Exactly.
So it's just like
Yeah,
the
you do.
community.
You
It's
need-
the same thing.
It's
You need every part to pull together to get the result.
Everyone
that you
has
want.
their place, yeah, in society. Everyone has their place. Everyone has their. It's not even a place, but like everyone has their use. Then is that the right word to say?
Everyone has a role.
could-
Everyone
yeah,
has a
yeah.
role to play.
Everyone has
All
their
right, that's
duty.
that better. Everyone's got a role to play in this whole journey of life and bringing, you know, the black community, because that's what we're talking about, together. And the thing is, like, going back though slightly to the original question of can you be pro-black and date outside your race?
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't have a
That's what
definitive
I'm-
answer.
It's not necessarily-
I don't think there's a
actually know.
blanket answer.
No, there
I don't
isn't.
think there's a blanket because there's so many different questions.
It's
And
not-
I'll give you an
different
example.
facets.
Why it's not a
Yeah.
blanket
I'll
answer?
give you an example, right? You see, like the Black Lives Matter thing that's happening now. That obviously the George Floyd thing kicked off the whole world, like on a standstill. Yeah. Imagine all the black men and black women who were with, like non-blacks in a relationship. Can you just, for a second, imagine what they were going through at that time, especially for the black.
I don't know if
I think
it
it was
depends
both
though,
sides,
because
but-
there was a lot of multiracial people involved in the protests and everything. So it might be a thing where like for me, I don't know. I didn't see anything where anyone of any race was saying like they don't care or it don't matter. Maybe there probably is
Well, I
obviously them
definitely,
people.
I
There
definitely
definitely-
saw,
there definitely
I
are them.
definitely saw on
See
social
what
media
I'm not. Yeah.
that there people did not care about.
No,
BLM.
there's definitely people out
100%.
there that don't care.
There's people on Twitter right now talking about it. I was on Twitter scrolling through yesterday, and I see people because you know that the police officer
Breonna
that got
Taylor.
killed.
Yeah.
Not even that.
What, the one in the other
yesterday.
day?
Oh,
The
in
day before,
Croydon.
In Croydon.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And I scrolled on Twitter and I saw people saying, someone mentioned something about George Floyd, and then someone commented saying, oh, this kneeling nonsense. And I said, I had to get involved. I was like, what kneeling nonsense? So kneeling on
Throw you out.
kneeling on a human being's neck, yeah, is nonsense. And then they replied back, oh, well, don't break the law, da-da-da-da-da. So they're just justifying the fact that a police officer killed a civilian.
But you know what? Sometimes
Like, I don't get it.
the
I
person you're
hate
talking
stuff like
to
that.
may, as a person, sometimes have a bad experience with black people, and they build hate. Do you know what I mean? I knew someone I worked with, and he had a bad experience with black people because when he was growing up, he told me he had bad experiences with them as a youth, going through their state, getting robbed and whatnot.
Okay.
So fast forward now, working with him and some black youths are in the place where we're working, and they called me over to ask me something, and he was like, what are they doing? And he's suspicious of them. I've gone over and they just asked me how the vending machine work. When I've gone back to him, he's like, what they want? They're causing trouble. He just has that in his mind because of his what he's been through and whatever.
So
and
people
for
bring
that,
their personal
yeah,
experiences
a lot
to
of
the
times,
table
yeah,
as well.
and people, it's about overstanding, innit? And a lot of people don't do that. They don't look and remove themselves out of their personal opinion and look at the whole thing, the bigger picture, and say, okay, I can see. Because for me, I can see when I see white racist people or I see other people that are racist, a lot of time it don't take too long to read them and see why they got there. Like some people, they're raised in them families like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not even their fault. You're
It's
right.
like when I worked in the one gym, and I had one of my colleagues was Asian, I remember asked her to drop me on the road. I wasn't driving, I was young. She was driving. I was like, can you drop me on the road? She was like, she had a dilemma.
Oh, really?
to put me in, to let me get in her car. You
Why?
know what I mean?
What did they think? What did you think?
Because just if her family see her with me, it's a madness for her.
Yeah.
It's a madness because it's not always that.
Some cultures
They keep it quiet. They keep it quiet.
Yeah, but they don't accept
They're
it.
like, yeah.
All right.
We're
not even ever said they keep it quiet, you know. It's right in front of our eyes to see.
No, but I'm saying if you're gonna talk to the man, he's not gonna say it to you.
Yeah, they're not gonna say it.
Are you crazy?
It's
Of course
action.
they'll say
What
it.
happening is action speak more. All
Nah,
right,
mate,
when we
listen.
look on this in out there, right? When we're talking about being pro-black and the other race, right?
Listen, yeah.
When I look on it, it's
They will say
only
it. They will say
our culture, our race pick up everybody. You know?
Yeah.
You tell me, Usha's culture, you say have everybody mixed up in there.
Right, let me stop you
We
there.
alone have everybody and
Let me-
everything mixed up.
Let me interject right there. One time, yeah, I was in a nail shop, yeah, and obviously we know that predominantly people that do your nails are from the Asian background, yeah. So this woman in particular was a Chinese lady, yeah. She was doing my nails. She's cool. We talk whatever. One day I said to her, "Do you date black guys?" She was like, "Oh no." I was like, "Oh, is there a reason for that, or you just like prefer to stay to your own culture?" She goes, "Oh no, I don't really mind, but if I bought," I said, "So what would happen if you bought like a black guy home?" And she was like, nothing much. Like my parents are not really like old school, but hear what she said. She goes, "My parents would rather me bring home a white man than a black man." I said, "Wow." So you
Yeah,
say
but-
that they won't say, they will say, and I think at the end of the day,
The
why
parents
shouldn't
wouldn't
you?
say it. The parents
Why
wouldn't say it.
wouldn't you? Why shouldn't you have your preference though?
Yeah,
You
that's
shouldn't-
fine,
You
though.
shouldn't be ashamed to say
That's
that.
alright to have
Like
preference.
I said well because I was like, okay,
That was
so
direct.
you can it was direct, but you can see that like all, I can't say all cultures, but I've got people in my family who have mixed relationships. Do you understand?
Mhm.
And because of the culture that they were from, they cut off
Mhm.
the other person purely because our family is black, and in their culture, their religion, it's just not a thing.
And that's what I was saying. It's
So
like,
how comes
with
if
the
we do
pro-black
that, it's a
thing-
problem? This is the bit that I'm trying to understand. If we say, like, oh, I will prefer to be with a black man or a black woman,
Mm.
and I would prefer my children to date black men, black women, whatever the case may be. Why do other cultures find that offensive?
Do they?
Of course they do.
I'm anti-social, so
people
you
that
have
I've
to-
interacted with,
You interact with more people than me.
I've had these conversations.
So I feel
They don't like it
it's,
because it's like, oh, you're
You
being
know
this
what?
and you're being
but it's
that.
just like when
It's your
if you
preference.
turn around and you say, you know, you look at the education system, it's exactly the same. You've got the Catholic Church and whatever other versions of Christianity. You've got the Islam practicing churches, so
Yeah,
majority of the children will
Different
go there.
community doing that.
Yeah,
So
you've got different-
Greek,
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
They all Jewish, everything.
Everything.
But we in our community cannot put forward an institution that is for the education of black children in a way that is positive for them, because it's seen as, I don't know how to describe it other than it's like it's an insult. Yeah, like, who are you to want to exclude us from something where we can't do anything like that? So we can't have schools, we can't have our own separate kind of community based things, everything.
There's a couple schools, right?
Yeah, but
they're
what's
probably
the
they're
what's
probably
the- they're not-
Saturday schools.
No,
Some
you
of
got,
them
you
are
got,
there.
you
There
got
was a school
Excelsior
there.
School in Tottenham.
but
Couple in South.
it's not mainstream in the same way, and the struggle to get through the red tape for them to just get to that position where they're there and established and not going to fold under pressure and whatever else that happens behind the scenes, it makes the number of them very few and far between, and the access to them is even more difficult. Like, it's not across the board, I can go into your borough, my borough, and find
there's
something that
something there.
facilitates
Yeah.
for our people. I feel like we sometimes are looked at like we should be grateful that others are accepting
of us.
But we should not feel that same entitlement to feel like, no, you should be grateful that we're accepting you. I don't feel that for a lot of people it's looked at the other way, as the position of the power position is not equal. So if you take a stand on anything, it's always seen as our usuals. You're aggressive, you're combative, you're this, you're that. There's another way for you to get that. Why do you have to protest? Why do you have to be angry, be meek, there's always something, that way we do something is always an issue. So I feel like it's a battle we've been fighting for a long time, and I don't know if it's something that's going to end soon, to be quite honest.
Just sum it up. We're not being treated equal.
No, we already
but
know.
Would it ever be an equal thing? This is what the question. Remember at the beginning you were saying, what are you being pro-black about?
That's what I'm saying.
What is it that we're actually? What do we want?
Thank you.
Then
What we want?
Do we want to be equal? What does equal mean? Equal pay,
but equal opportunities.
But it differs from person to person.
Exactly.
So what is
you're talking about?
Again, Mr. C said, "What is pro-black?
It's
what
like
is pro-black?" Take it back when we talk about the George Floyd thing, when kneeling on George Floyd's neck and stuff. That kneeling on a black man neck, or standing on a black man neck, it done way before George Floyd,
Of course,
it was done after.
Right?
You see the videos that come after?
Yeah.
Of them still doing it.
Do we see? Not after. This is something that's shrined in the history.
Of course.
Of I don't know if it's a European or white or whatever, but there is a thing where the Governor General, knowing the one of Jamaica, where them say St. Patrick triumph over Satan, where stand up in a black man neck. Who don't know can go research then you see, right? I think it's St. Patrick, right? Stand in a black man neck, and they give the Governor General them this thing for wear it, right? With the picture in there, with the black man diagram, with the chain on it, and the white man stand their neck. So this thing was about a long time ago.
There was also a statue, wasn't it?
That's the same thing.
Oh, was it the same thing?
Same
when
thing.
the guy's got his sword on the black man's neck. So it's not a new thing.
It's not.
When though him stand in her neck, and I think 1 foot, I think, in his neck, and the next
then the other one was
in his grind.
Yeah, something like that. And then he's got the sword like that.
So when I say this George Floyd thing,
but it's the fact that it was an actual
long time
real thing though that was just televised and
and I think it's within the modern
unjust.
You know what it is? What I realise is that a lot of things don't come. People don't take it seriously until it lick them personally. To hear someone close to them, and then you hear them saying that you might have told them the reality and that, and they ignore you, and then next week something happened to them, they come and they're like, "Yo, we gotta do this," and they're just looking at them like,
I've been
saying this. I've been shouting this for time.
What thing
but
is
no
about
one's
it?
listening.
You see, people, and this is sometimes I always have an issue with. You see, if you come now as a little man or a little lady from a community and you come and you tell somebody something, people just look at you and say, "You don't know nothing, you're done, you're an idiot, you're not going to if you know that."
Yeah, because they think
because
that
you
have
don't
to have
a scholar's
education
and certain education, you don't know this. And then, just because somebody know a white collar, you have one white collar, it doesn't necessarily mean he's a white man, you know. Him have one in collar, and he have one in suit, and he come and tell you the same thing. You believe him because if we are all him bring it across to you, and the way him look, you believe him, but you not believe him man from his scruff, you know. The same thing we man tell you know. So when you get caught up now and the whole wrong things start happening to you, if you listen from first, you done through the door a long time because you're not listening to your own brother.
For real.
And they always say that the guys that you see that you get the little videos when you get sometimes even that videos of like not even a movie star, but you see like you get the little rastas that are just in the hills just talking and saying their thing. But people think they're mad and all that. But what they're saying is just real talk.
But then that's where it comes back down to sometimes the family and the household. Do you know what I mean? And how things are looked upon and how you raise the children to what you tell them to certify as truth and what you know.
And that will obviously make a big difference.
Because sometimes the man get you're gonna diss them, man. You're gonna see them Rasta, and then someone's gonna say, "Oh, don't listen to that man. He's a funny, he's a silly old man. Or he's just don't listen to that mad Rasta man." And you get me? That it's like, no, listen to what you have to say. And if it don't make sense to you, go and research or something,
exactly.
and chat with him.
Out,
have a reasoning with him. Talk with him. If you don't agree, have an argument. If you have to have an argument,
it's just like me. Me grew up around Walpa Rasta and them thing there. When I grew up, me a little boy, they used to have Rasta man chanting in my yard, right? And my father used to say my Rasta, right? My Rasta at that time, right? With him respect and everything. But you see thing where Rasta man would then talk from a little bit, and some elder them then talk teach with even off a feed. People don't look on and say, what am I eat? Them not eat right. But it's the same thing, then come back around and call it
vegan. Vegan, innit?
That's so weird.
Raw foods diet.
Rasta in a talk long
I tell yeah, long while.
And then come now, I brand it and I put it on the shelf and I call it vegan. So, when you say Rasta a madman.
Yeah.
But so you're the same thing.
So I don't come a madman now. I remember man.
Yeah, but that's
no.
what it is.
Yeah, but it's
listen, you know Bushman. You know Bushman, yeah? You know Bushman, you know he sing, the cannabis, the originalist, doctor put it in my pill and it cure me sickness. Years ago, years before they legalize it and start doing the medical CD.
The cannabis, the originalist, doctor put it in my pill and it cure me sickness. And the cannabis,
science on it and everything. And like, just so everyone knows, half of the CBD products you buy ain't got nothing in it. Especially if you go into them commercial places. Got nothing in it.
Just the name.
It's just the name. And that's what they sell
for the pharmaceutical
certain things that's why the connection. See, we're going off topic, but the connection between where you come from and where you're at now,
on topic.
You have to keep that connection because you just turn stupid because all of the things that they make money off of, we was doing already. But we just didn't make it fancy and put
label on it
and everything. Do you know what I mean? So everyone hype. You know what it is? What I clocked, everyone gets onto a new hype. In the commercial places and countries, there's a new hype. 1 minute it's coconut oil. Coconut oil is the new thing. Coconut oil, then it's CMOS.
And that has been doing CMOS
before that
for how long?
Before that it was
years
this.
And years and
before
years.
it was Cinco Bible, Cinco Bible.
I met something years ago. I drink. But what people now catch on to it.
You see it?
Now everyone's on it now. Like
and the thing is, the way they do it is you're not even gonna wanna buy it from your people because you want it in this pretty packaging, and they're gonna tell you, no, you have to get
one
this,
ain't good.
and we do
that
this,
one ain't
and we
good.
do that.
That's the new one, innit?
What happened with loads of product? All right, for instance, right? It's like marijuana, right? What they call ganja.
I'm not saying that again.
What they do?
I like it.
They say, it's illegal. But if the government can't control it and tax it, it's not illegal.
Yeah, but that's for everything.
Because cigarette, the more harm, to kill you. But what them do, them write on the pack and it say it can cause this. It will cause whatever word they use, right? Yeah. But they use it to back up themselves as well. So, if you could have control ganja, marijuana, cannabis, however you want to call it, if you could have control it and tax it, it wouldn't be illegal.
No.
That's what they're working on. They're working on it.
Yeah, that's plant out there and it's grown naturally from the earth.
Do you know that UK has exported almost, I think it was in 2017, one of them years around there, they exported the most cannabis from here for medical use. No one knows that they're growing cannabis here.
Yeah.
In big tons. They exported tons of cannabis from it. So they already know that there's something in there.
Yeah,
and
it's from the ground.
But they ain't gonna let it legalize until they can have a full control over how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And a monetary
value.
Yeah, so
100%.
Nothing is illegal unless they can control it and get taxes.
But then if you remember, for years they were campaigning and saying this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? And then they will change what they're saying when it suits them and everything. So I say that just to say this: you have to have your own mind. You have to be able to have your own thoughts and your own decisions, and don't just get fed
your
what you're getting through the TV and just take it like, yeah, that's what it is.
Guys, you know what? We're gonna have to come back to this topic because it's a hot one. It's a hot one.
And it took us all over.
Trust me,
like
trust me. Like it was like up and down, but it was a good conversation, man. Good episode. But we'll be back next week, innit? So thank you for logging on to YouTube to watch the Exchange podcast.
Cup and everything.
In it,
Cup
and
and
we'll see you lot
everything.
next week.
Cheers.
Yeah, man.
Here we go now.